All right, guys, so welcome to today's full day of eating. And I'm going to do this full day of eating a little bit differently than what you've normally seen. Again, it's a full day of eating. Literally everyone does this, so it's nothing new. But yeah, so I'm going to do a little bit differently. So this is actually the day after I filmed the full day of eating. And I literally just kind of half-assed it. I just filmed the food, just literally just a picture of the food, filmed it. And now what I'm going to do is actually sit down and talk about each meal in detail. I feel like nobody really just sits down and goes over their legit plan and talks about every little fine detail. And that's kind of what I want to do here. And again, before I start here, this is my personal meal plan that me and my coach work on together. So by no means is this plan going to get you the same results, if any results. Everyone is extremely different. And so we each require different needs. And as I work with my coach, each week we're learning about my body, figuring out what I need, what I don't need, what I respond best with, how do I digest these things. So it's very, very specific to myself. So if you want a meal plan, you need to make that specific to yourself, and that takes time, consistency, whole lot of consistency, and patience. So feel free to take ideas from this, and maybe you want to try something here and there, but by no means do not try this to a T and think it's going to work for you. If you want to, cool, go ahead, but it's not going to work. I'm telling you. But yeah, so I want to go in depth, explain everything here. And right now, just kind of an overview of what I'm doing. I'm obviously in an off season, but I like to call it a progression season just because this is when we're actually improving. I'm in a surplus right now, eating a lot of food, trying to gain as much lean muscle as I can so I can improve the next time I diet down and compete. So the goal here in a progression season or an off season is to eat as much food as you possibly can. And when I say eat as much food as you possibly can, also I should say, and train your ass off harder than you ever have before too. But with the food, eating as much as you possibly can, I don't just mean stuff your face and get as fat as you want to. You want to eat as much food as you possibly can while still keeping your body fat at a healthy level. You're not getting too fat. You want to still maintain some leanness, keep some abs, keep some definition in your quads. You don't want to get huge love handles, stuff like that. So stay decently lean. Again, you're going to gain fat. That's okay. That's just fine. But don't get fat. Don't get sloppy is what I'm saying. And also, honestly, probably even more important, eat as much food as you can while still keeping your digestion great. You don't want to be bloated. You don't want to be overly gassy. You don't want to feel like you are just feeling terrible in your stomach because it's all backed up with a bunch of food. It's not good. And you have to be able to absorb and utilize those nutrients. Otherwise, if you're slamming a bunch of shit food or food that you're not digesting right, it's not going to be the same. So I will say my digestion is the best it has ever been. My coach and I work on this every week. We talk about it, honestly, a few times a week, just trying to figure out what's going to be working better, what things we can change. It's still not perfect, but sure as hell, it's pretty close to getting fully dialed in and the best it's ever been. It's just a matter of time and patience with that. So I'm really excited about that. You'll notice lots of the things in my plan that I'll talk about are related to digestion and just keeping that in check. Now I will say with digestion, it's a progression season, so I am pretty full with food most of the time. That's normal, but there's a difference between being full with just having volume of food in your stomach and actually being like bloated and having like GI irritation in there. So GI irritation, bloat, digestion, everything has been very good for me. But because I'm eating so much food and a very big surplus of calories, there is going to be some fullness there. I'm going to feel full, not always hungry. That's okay. But yeah, so that is my progression season kind of like overview. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to mention here. Let's see. Yeah, biggest things, eating a bunch of food and training. So we're pushing food very, very high right now. This is my moderate day meal plan. The reason I'm showing you this meal plan today is because it's the meal plan I eat majority of the week. I believe I eat this plan 3 days out of the week. And then I also have 2 high day meal plans and then 2 off day meal plans. So my coach and I currently cycle like our calories, our macronutrients, and our carbs and everything. So today's a moderate day. So we're going to be having a decent amount of fat, decent amount of carbs, and a decent amount of protein, just really moderate. But yeah, so I eat most, so I'm going to show you today. In the future, I'll probably do another video showing my other meal plans as well. But yeah, so that's the plan. So I'm going to get into the first meal of the day. So before I do meal one, every day when I wake up, I go and do my fasted cardio and abs. I should say 5 days a week. On leg days or lower body days, I don't do cardio. I don't do fasted abs. So right after I wake up, I use the bathroom. And after I use the bathroom, I go and I take my apple cider vinegar, which is 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and then I do 10 grams of glutamine with that, and then also take a prebiotic, or a probiotic, excuse me. And that is just gut health related. When you're in a fasted state in the morning, your gut is not crammed up with food. It's at a good spot to take in healthy nutrients because there's nothing to get in the way of that. So we're gonna put in good healthy nutrients. Apple cider vinegar helps you break down those proteins. It's great for your gut health. Glutamine helps rebuild the protein linings in your gut, which really is good for digestion. And same thing with the probiotic, just good healthy digestive vitamins in there, which are really helpful. And I take that with some water. And I drink a little bit of water before I do my cardio. So then I go do my cardio. Right now, my coach has me doing 15 minutes fasted. I've been doing it on the treadmill because I just have a treadmill at home at a heart rate of 125 to 130. So nothing crazy. I like it. It's a good way to start my day. And then after cardio, I go into meal one. So because it's a moderate day, we are going to be having protein, carbs, and fats in the majority of the meals. So meal one is going to be 80 grams of cream of rice, 100 grams of blueberries, 3 whole eggs, and then 3 ounces of chicken. And then before meal one, I'll take my vitamins, which is a digestive enzyme. I'll do 2 grams of fish oil. I'll do 5,000 IUs of vitamin D, and then I think that's all I have for meal one. And then also a B12 vitamin. So with meal one, we have cream of rice. Most of my carb sources are all rice-based products. Cream of rice, there's no gluten, nothing in it that's really gonna upset my stomach. It digests very well with me. Good way to get some clean, healthy carbs in. And then after that, we're gonna do blueberries on that, 100 grams of just organic blueberries. I like the frozen blueberries because it kind of helps cool the cream of rice after it's done being cooked. It's kind of like a nice hot, cold contrast. Tastes amazing. And then we have 3 ounces of chicken and then 3 whole omega eggs. So the eggs, good healthy omega fats. Fats are extremely important in your diet. We need those healthy fats, so that's why we're using the eggs. And then the reason why I bring chicken with that breakfast, most people do egg whites, but I know with egg whites, they can potentially cause a lot of digestive issues, just especially eating them in large amounts. So chicken, number one, chicken is a complete protein. Egg whites aren't really a complete protein. And number two, it's going to digest a little bit better than egg whites. And honestly, for me, egg whites are probably going to be removed here sooner than later because I am noticing that they kind of upset my stomach sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they kind of give me a little bit of irritation in my stomach. So I'm going to bring that up with my coach in our next check-in. So I'll see what he thinks there. But yeah, that's meal one. I put a little bit of ketchup on the eggs. No sugar added ketchup. I do use 0 calorie sauces or very low calorie sauces like ketchup, but I make sure to keep it in very small amounts and then keep them consistent too. I make sure to weigh those out because if you vary the amount of sauces you use, like one day you use none, and another day you use a bunch of it, all that sodium content can cause like fluctuations in your weight and stuff like that. And it's not as consistent. But yeah, so that is meal one. It kind of sets the tone for my day. Honestly, really easy to get down. Yeah, a really good meal. And meal two, what you guys saw, and I will say meal two and meal three sometimes fluctuate depending on my schedule for the day. I prefer to train after meal two, but now because of my school schedule with college, the way my classes are timed out, I have to train after meal three. So what you saw in today's video, meal two, is going to be 200 grams of jasmine rice. My coach has pulled the jasmine rice down from 250 to 200. And then it is going to be 1 teaspoon of avocado oil. Avocado oil, we get a really good balance of different kinds of fat to get different fatty acid profiles. Really good, clean, healthy fat. And then we also have 5 ounces of chicken. And then the vegetables on there is kimchi, just like kind of fermented pickled vegetables. Kimchi is a natural probiotic, so it's really good for the gut health, and that's why I do that there. I actually really like the taste of it too. It's got kind of like a good tangy, kind of like Asian style flavor. I don't really know how to explain it, but I like it and tastes good. And then we also have pink salt on the meal as well. And I should say I put pink salt on all my meals. I do a 1/4 teaspoon on everything just to keep that consistent, but I don't really need to bring that up because it's just know it's on all of my meals. Salt, make sure you're using it. Just make sure it's consistent. I don't care if you use a whole lot. I don't care if you use a whole little. Just make sure you're doing at least some salt on each meal. Really good for hydration, performance in the gym, and also pump. But yeah, so that was meal two. And I'll get into meal three. So meal three is about 2.5 hours after meal two. And I should say I wait at least 2.5 hours to eat all my meals, or 2.5 hours in between each meal, just to get my body time to kind of let it flush through so it's not super backed up. So meal 3, now this is my pre-workout meal. And the thing with pre-workout nutrition, I don't want it to be something that's going to be sitting in my stomach and causing just uncomfortable bloat or just overall fullness during the workout. I want to feel relatively kind of condensed and not super full when I work out, just for a focus standpoint, not feeling sluggish and lethargic. So we're going to go with cream of rice again. Again, cream of rice, it kind of flies right through me. Super easy source of carbs to digest. I use the Rice and Grinds by Pride Foods. Tastes amazing, especially when you get like the flavored kinds there. And then I mix that with 55 grams of just pure grass-fed whey isolate protein. I use HD Muscle. Whey isolate protein, if you're not using a whey isolate and you care about bodybuilding or getting big or anything, switch to a whey isolate. Don't get a whey protein blend or use casein or anything like that. Blends and casein, they're filled with a bunch of other stuff, and they almost always cause some sort of a digestion discomfort or GI irritation with most of us. If you get a good quality grass-fed whey isolate protein, it's almost always going to cause no digestive issues, and it's going to kind of fly right through you. I can eat grass-fed whey iso like it's nothing, no upset stomach, nothing. Really good, sits really well in me. And then in that meal, we also did 10 grams of extra virgin coconut oil. So with coconut oil, we want fats and a little bit of fats in that meal just to kind of slow that absorption down or release of glycogen, just because we don't want to have a high spike of energy right before our workout and then have a crash of energy. So with the fats, it kind of just slows that release. So you have a really good steady source of energy throughout your workout. And the reason we use coconut oil for that is coconut oil, compared to the other fat sources, is going to digest a lot easier, a little bit quicker actually too. We don't want to be doing a bunch of fats or really slow digesting fats, because we don't want to digest super slow to a point where we actually feel really sluggish and tired during a workout. But just giving that little hint of fat from the coconut oil kind of just sustains it and lets it release at a level that we want for our workout. And then that meal, I actually double up on the salt for that meal. So I do a half teaspoon of salt, just because you really can't do enough sodium before your workout, provided you're drinking enough water, working your butt off. We double up on that just to really get that hydration, performance, and get a good pump during the workout. So I didn't show it in the video, but I want to talk about my pre-workout drink. So pre-workout, about 30 minutes out, I mix up my pre-drink, which is just 2 scoops of a non-stim, just pump pre-workout. And then I also put a 1/4 teaspoon of pink salt in there. I don't do a whole lot of stims. I'll do stims maybe once or twice a week, just because stims, when you're amped up so much, number 1, it can affect your sleep, which has a big impact on your recovery. Number 2, if I get so stimulated and my face is itchy, I'm just kind of like really wired up, I can't always focus the way I want to during my workouts. And if I can't focus, I can't execute on a level that really gets me the best results. So I almost always go with a stim-free pre-workout or a very moderate amount of caffeine, just because I like to, number 1, get that good pump. When you overdo the caffeine, it can really inhibit your pump, or I should say make it really hard to get a pump, or just not as good of a pump. So when I go no caffeine, I get a much better pump. And if you get a really good high quality non-stim pre-workout, find one that has really good things like alpha GCP or like mushrooms in there, like lion's mane or etc. Just it helps that mental clarity, mental focus, and you actually feel really sharp, really clear during that workout, but not overly stimulated and kind of jacked up. So that's why I do a stim-free pre-workout. And I noticed after about a month of doing that, my sleep really improved. My performance actually really improved, and I just really had no desire to have caffeine a whole lot anyways. So that's my pre-workout. So I'm going to talk about my intra-workout drink, and the reason I'm bringing this up as well is because there are a decent amount of calories in there. So on my moderate day, we do 25 grams of carbs. On my high day, even more so than that. But today we have 25 grams of carbs from just a cluster dextrin and Carb 10 by HD Muscle. I do 1 scoop of that. And then we do 10 grams of EAAs. EAAs, really good for that protein synthesis, kind of those building blocks of proteins. Making sure you don't go catabolic during your workout, because you're breaking down muscles. That's one of the best times to shuttle nutrients into your body, is when you're in the middle of a workout, because your muscles are at the most vulnerable spot and they can literally feed off anything you put in them. So nutrient uptake is really high during your workout. So I almost always recommend taking some kind of an EAA, some kind of a carb during your workout, just so you can utilize those nutrients, start that recovery process earlier, and you're going to be way more recovered and just feel a lot better when you have that stuff too. Also in my EAAs, I get the intra-workout EAAs by each HD Muscle. There's a little bit of coconut water in there too, or I think it's like Kobico 10, or I forgot how to even pronounce it, but coconut water in there. Helps with hydration and performance. We also do 10 grams of glutamine. Again, a good amino acid, helps repair the lining of the gut, good for digestion and just recovery after a workout. And then we also do 5 grams of creatine monohydrate. Creatine, again, I don't care when you take it. I like to just take it during my workout because it's shown that you absorb and utilize creatine better when you take it with a form of carbs and protein. So, I mean, EAAs and the carbs in there, I'm just going to utilize a little bit better if I didn't take it with a carb source of some kind. In all honesty, though, it doesn't really matter. Just be consistent with it. Take it every day at the same time, and you'll be good. 5 grams of creatine. We did a 1/4 teaspoon of pink salt. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that is everything in the intro workout drink. And then I mix it all up in 25 ounces of just water. And then I sip that throughout the workout. I get a lot better pump when I have that. Just recovery is good overall. So now for the post-workout meal, favorite meal of the day. You can never go wrong with cereal. So my coach is a big fan of cereal post-workout just because it's a really simple, easy form of carbs to digest. And after a workout, once you've been broken down, your body is at a perfect state to uptake and utilize nutrients. So we're going to slam some carbs down. So my moderate day, I do 125 grams of just low-fat, gluten-free cereal. So I believe I showed the rice checks in my cereal. That's what I use that day, but I'll also use things like Cocoa Pebbles or Fruity Pebbles, and even Rice Krispies. The reason I use Rice Chex and the Cocoa Pebbles is so when you eat 125 grams of cereal, and you'll see on my high day, I go upwards of 200 grams of my cereal, which is insane. You want a really low volume cereal because that's a bowl of cereal that's like that big and it's humongous. So I like to go really low volume cereal, just a little bit easier to get all that carbs down. And I'm not stuck there chewing cereal for like 30 minutes because there's so much of it. So I do 125 grams of gluten-free, low-fat cereal on my moderate day. And then I mix that in with, 55 grams of whey protein isolate. Grass-fed, just going to digest and flow through your body a lot faster than a blend or casein. No GI issues there as well. And then also, we're going to add in some 15 grams of raw unfiltered honey into that protein. I mix it in, turn it into a frosting. Reasoning for the honey is it's just a good, healthy, pure sugar. Again, similar to the cereal, just going to get into your body, absorb that really fast, replenish that glycogen, help that recovery process. And it's compared to other sugars, it's going to be really clean. Honey, especially if you get it all natural, it's good for you in small amounts. So that's why we do that. Okay, so we're on to meal 4. So we just did meal 4. Meal 4 that day was the post-workout. So now we're on to meal 5. So meal 5, we're going to do 200 grams of jasmine rice. We're going to do 1 tablespoon. Before in meal 2, we did a teaspoon. Now we're going to do 1 tablespoon of macadamia nut oil. Again, we need fats. Fats are good. We're using mac nut oil now just to get a little bit different fat, different fatty acid profile. Really good, healthy, clean fat for you. I'd highly recommend including mac nut oil into your plan. Then we're going to do, what do? We do 30 grams of kimchi, again, for that gut health. And then for the meat, we are doing 5 ounces of, what do? We did cod there. So on that meal, my coach gives me the option to use either cod, shrimp, or 99.1 turkey breast. Cod just seems to sit the best with me. And when I cook fish fresh fish, it's kind of hard to say, but when I cook the fish fresh, I love the taste of that. Honestly, over shrimp or the turkey, I love the taste of just fresh cooked cod. So yeah, I did 5 ounces of that, but on the day it might depend. Some days I do shrimp, some days I do 99.1 turkey for that meal. Really just depends, but cod typically sits the best in my stomach, so I just like that just for the convenience of it. And that was meal 5. So meal 6, this is a really good, one of my other favorite meals as well. It's actually a new meal in my plan. I just got this put in this week by my coach. So it is 60 grams of gluten-free oats by Bob's Red Mill. Yes, I get this question a lot. Some oats, I guess, aren't gluten-free technically. Honestly, I can't even really explain that to you. I don't really know how it works. But that some glutes are labeled as gluten-free. So just to be safe, because gluten does sometimes upset my stomach, we go with the gluten-free by Bob's Red Mill, just a good organic, healthy, clean whole grain oats. And then in that, we mixed in 25 grams of just whey grass-fed isolate. We did 32 grams of cashew butter, again, just to get a good, different, healthy, clean fat source. And then the cashew butter and the oats are going to contain a little bit of fiber, so just kind of slow down that digestion for overnight, just nutrient absorption while I'm sleeping. And then we also do 200 grams of egg whites with that meal. So that meal is designed, it's a little bit lower carb just because it's at night. We're not training or anything, so we don't need as many carbs. And then it's just got good, healthy, clean proteins in there, good, healthy fats, good balanced meal. That kind of caps off the day. So a thing I want to mention with my diet is, this is just this past 2 weeks. I check in formally with my coach every 2 weeks, and most often there's always some kind of a change every 2 weeks. Most often it's a very small change, but that being said, there's always things changing here and there. So in 2 weeks from now, my plan could look a little bit different from now. So it's not like I stick to this exact same plan for the entire year. We're always modifying, improving things, changing things as we go. But the main bulk of my meals will always stay the same. We're mainly just changing an amount here and there. We might switch something out here and there, but that's kind of what I'm saying. I also get asked a lot lately is, what are my calories? What are my macros? Quite honestly, I don't know. My coach makes my plans for me and then he sends them to me. All I have to do is just follow them. Kind of takes the guesswork out for me. It's honestly nice. It saves a lot of time and stress. But I don't know, nor do I really care. What really matters is you're staying consistent with the plan. And in any sort of a time when you're trying to, say, prep down, get lean for a show, or gain muscle in a progression season, it's not the specific numbers of the calories and macros that matters. What matters is you stick to a plan consistently every single day, and you listen to your body as you go. And then once, after you're consistent for like 2 weeks or so, look at your body, assess it. Does anything need to be changed? Does anything need to be increased? Does anything need to be decreased? If you're seeing good results, no, keep it the same. And if something does need to be changed, just pull something here, pull something there. Obviously, make an educated guess and look and understand the body so you know what you're supposed to be doing. But it's not like we're looking at numbers. We're looking at the response of the body. And my coach is so experienced. He knows what he's doing. He's been there, done that. He's seen it all firsthand. So it's like I put full trust in him to understand and communicate with him so we can figure out my body and get it dialed in the best that we can. So at the end of the day, the numbers don't matter. What matters is the consistency and the response your body is giving you. So yeah, that's my full day of eating on a moderate day. I will put videos up for the other days of the week as well. But for right now, just doing the moderate one. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Again, take something from it, but just know it's not going to work for you because it's very personalized and specific to my own individual body.